Hi, my name's T. Murphy Triplet. I'm from the Shepherds of a Thousand Lives. It has taken me quite some time to put the pieces of this story together. I don't even know how to describe what you will hear over the... I don't know how long this could take. It was... Well, let's just get started, and I think you'll be able to keep up. I'll catch you at the top of the next entry, and if you have any questions, seek out my producers in the chat rooms over at the TTRP Theater Discord. I will clue you in on a little bit of stuff here in this first part. This first part is a story that was told by somebody else, but it's about how the doctor, who is kind of a key figure in this whole plotline, ambushed basically this group of people, of which Dr. Ernest Kennedy, that's an important name. I want you to write that down. It's going to be very important to this entire story. But anyways, here you go. Thanks.
Every day is a struggle. Every day is a trial. Every day is a failure. I have to walk another mile. I'll go wherever you go. Every day is a heartbeat. Every day another moan. Every day is a gallows. I can feel it in the bone. I'm alone. Take me home. As you make the bed, so you must lie.
Dr. Kennedy, the door to your lab swings open, and another doctor comes through the door. This is Blythe's husband. He is a little bit bigger than you remember him, and as he steps through the front door and looks over all of you knowingly, and it comes in, and he looked kind of his normal self, a little bit larger perhaps. His visage starts to just fade and melt away. Let's just say it's gory. A man with a floor-length skirt of leather adorned in chains and weapons of torture. The mid part of his body, from bottom half of his face down through his chest, his skin has been basically flayed and rolled down to expose muscle and sinew. However, it doesn't seem to really bother him. He has extended claws on one hand. The laboratory around you is not a laboratory, certainly not Dr. Kennedy's laboratory. As he moves closer, you realize now he's got to be 7 feet tall and probably 300 pounds of mass. He's huge. And he starts to move your way. And he's got, because that bottom half of his face is peeled back the way it is in a constant state of smile. And his head is still just locked on you, Sasha.
Ernie used the counter space next to him to get back to his feet. And he looks at the creature that was the doctor, and he just stares at him and says, "My goodness, Doctor, have you done something to your hair? Also, you seem somewhat taller than the last time I saw you."
His hand has already reached down and pulled this hook from his own waist, and he spins it in his hand so that it is hooked at himself. And starting at the top of his skull and splits the rest of that skin that's on the top of his head, and then continues to drag it down, and you see some of that meat peel away from the bone, and the cartilage sort of just pulls off with the hook, and he continues to split all the way down until he gets to his abdominal cavity, where it sort of just cuts open and his guts almost spill out. But for some reason, he didn't quite hook that thin membrane that lines the inside inside of your abdominal cavity. So his guts are still hidden behind this layer of very thin membrane, but the skin and whatever muscle tissue sort of peels away, exposing all of his chest bones and his sternum and then his guts. And about halfway through that process, after he passes his own mouth, you hear a laughter start to come up from inside of his chest as he continues to cut down and down and down, and the laughter gets louder and louder and louder. And when he stops, he quickly pulls that hook out and says, "You've started to find it in yourself." So then what you see is he brings that hook up in his one hand in the air, and as he goes to grab her neck, Harvey has jumped into the fray.
So I want to do two things. One of my things, of course, will be battlefield medicine, but I consider battlefield medicine my art, and I want to then use Snake Charmer on the doctor.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
I will ask the creature for something that I desire. In that, I want to ask him, what is his deal with Blythe? Good doctor, you seem quite particularly interested in this exceedingly young child. What, for the love of all that is potentially, at least, good in the world, is your fascination with her?
He stands up and turns around to face you and says, "Oh, Blythe has a power, and I will show you just what it is." And he has hook in air and starts to move for her again rather swiftly from across the room. And it's kind of like I will show you, Doctor, the answer to your questions, as
I'm going to need you to not.
Flying across the room.
And that's the second thing that I desire. I want him to stop fucking moving.
You stop him in his tracks for a moment, and he turns his head towards you.
Actions, sure. Words are what we have dealt with. I would say my friend, but I feel like that's far from accurate.
Dr. Kennedy, this is going to happen just as it has happened for the last 200 years, and I am done messing with you.
Blythe, go about your business. Let me deal with this.
Just observe as you always have, and you will once again see the answer to your questions.
So I told Blythe to get the fuck out while I have him fucking stopped in one place. I don't know if she was paying any attention or not, but...
I'm gonna skeet.
You've got that moment, but the doctor knows what you're thinking, Dr. Kennedy, and I need you to avoid harm. Oh, you rolled the 11, Dr. Kennedy. You avoid the most of it. Just you don't even know what it is. Just a force comes at you. You assume from his eyes, or perhaps some sort of telekinetic force or something like that. He's on the opposite side of the room from everybody now, so he's kind of facing all of you. It doesn't seem to have any effect, and now he's moving his way back across the room towards Blythe. He takes both bullets in the chest. The impact of the bullet moves him just barely with the impact.
I want to get that hook out of his hands.
Could use Sasha to hit a motherfucker with another.
Okay, this is our
The table hits the doctor, and it knocks him back. You can almost see the table kind of bend around him, just barely. It kind of crinkles the table in the center, and it does move him, and he turns back around rather quickly, makes his move towards Harvey.
Says I can soothe an aggressive creature. I want to do that, and I just want to go up to him. I want to give him a hug. I want to hug him, but also I'm gonna roll something else. I'm gonna roll for ice cold. I want to go up. I want to hug him and just start whispering all the things she used to say to him, to make him feel good, to boost his ego, whatever, all that bullshit. And she wants to snatch his hook while she's doing that.
This all kind of happens rather quickly because you're going to have to move up on him. He's not really paying attention to you. He's paying attention to Harvey. He senses you, but he doesn't lose his focus on Harvey, and he'll turn his head toward Blythe. You notice that in his other hand, he's still reaching out to grab Harvey. Harvey, you get grabbed and lifted from the ground, and then he throws you straight into Joel, who is crumpled up on the floor, Harvey hits Joel. Sasha and Dr. Kennedy, you see Harvey hit Joel, and then the floor just sort of splits apart, and both of them vanish through the floor into blackness, and then the floor closes behind them.
Everyone else in the room sees that they are still there, but Sasha and I see that they are not actually there.
Correct.
Motherfucker.
If Blythe was to look over at this moment, she would see a pile of sleeping bodies.
Okay.
But you're looking at the doctor, and you have his attention as you come in and give him a hug. His open body is just oozing blood and goo and sticky stuff onto you as you press yourself up against him. And then you start to feel claws at your back. You sense him clawing down through your clothes, just cutting them from your body and cutting into the skin of your back, down both shoulder blades.
I really thought that was going to send her over the edge, but no, it just fuels her rage, and she takes his hook and she does what she did the first time, and she's going for the neck.